Okay, let's work on tests for our comments feature. So we worked on showing comments and adding comments. So let's add tests for those. So I believe I called my idea test show ideas test. So we'll do the same for comments. So PHP artisan make test show comments test. Actually, I want to put it in a comments folder. So we'll do this. And not sure if that works. The folder, so show comments test. Does that work? Yeah, it does work. Okay. And let's add one for add comment test. Okay. So let's start with showing comments. And let's get rid of this. Let's use refresh database. And let's write our first test. So as always, let's start with the existence test. So if you remember, we have two Livewire components, one for fetching all of the comments and one for each individual comment. So let's say idea comments Livewire component renders. So let's go ahead and make an idea here. So idea is idea factory create. We don't care about any of the fields. Let's make a comment here. Say comment 1. Actually, I don't even think we need the comment, but we'll add one anyways. Comment factory create. And let's just say idea is this one we have here. So idea ID. And let's just put a body on it anyways. This is my first comment. Okay. And let's go ahead and go to that route. So this get, let's go to route idea show dot show, and we'll pass through the idea. And let's assert that we see this Livewire component or the idea comments Livewire component. Assert see Livewire. And we are checking against the idea comments component. So let's try this out. Let's import comment and idea here. This one, idea. Okay, so let's test that out. Okay, does pass. Let's do the same thing, but for the other component. So same thing, but for the idea comment component. So all we have to do is change this and change this. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's add a test for this case when there's no comment. So I believe I have one here with no comment. Yeah, this one has no comments. So let's test this case. So let's duplicate this. Let's call it no comments shows appropriate message. And we don't even need a comment here. We're going to that page and let's assert that we see that message. So assert see, and what was the message? No comments yet. No comments yet. Let's try that out. Okay. Okay, now let's add a case for actually showing comments. So we'll grab this again, put it down here, and let's say list of comments shows on idea page. So let's add two comments here. So let's duplicate this one, comment 1 and comment 2, and they both belong to the same idea here. Okay, and let's change this to second comment. So let's assert that we see those comments. So we can say assert see, and I'm just going to hard code it, but you can use the variable if you want. This is my first comment, and let's do the same for the other one too, second. And let's also assert that we see the correct comments count. So that would be this. Let's go to the one with actual comments. So 7 comments in this case. But in our case, we only have 2. So let's say, or duplicate this, and let's say 2 comments. Okay. So let's see if this passes. And it does. Cool. If you want, you can use the assert see in order method, and assert that these two appear in order. So let's grab this, get rid of this, and make this an array. So this one should appear first, and then this one should appear second. Close the array, and this should still work. Okay. Next, let's add a case for the comments count on the index page. So that would be this right here. So almost the same as this one. So let's just duplicate this. Let's say comments count shows correctly on idea page or on index page. So we have two comments. We are going to the index page. So idea index. Don't need this param. And we can just assert C two comments. So let's run that. It should pass. And it does. Just to make sure that it does pass, if I were to only have one comment, this should fail. Cool. Okay. And if you want, you can separate out one for the show page and remove the assertion from here. But I'm okay with how I have it now. Okay, now let's add a case for the OP badge. So let's look for one of those. Let's go to my ideas here. And I'm not logged in actually. So let's go to my ideas. And if you remember, we have this OP badge. If this person is the person who created this idea. So let's write a case for that. Let's duplicate this one. Let's say OP badge shows if author of idea comments on idea. Okay, so we need a user for this, and that user has to be logged in. So let's use the factory here. User factory create. Let's make sure to import user. And for this idea, we want to make sure that this user created that idea, so we can pass that in. User ID is user ID. Okay. And I'm going to leave comment 1, but comment 2 is going to be the person who created the idea. So it's a user ID is user ID. Okay. And we're going to the show page. So let's make sure we are on that page. Idea. And I just want to make sure that that OP badge shows. So we can do OP. So let's try that out. It does pass. Let's make sure it's not a false positive. So let's remove this user ID, and the OP badge should not show. So it should fail, and it does. Cool. So I'm not using a response variable here like I am for my other tests. This is actually cleaner, but I'm just going to keep it consistent with my other tests. For example, I use a response variable, and then I use this variable to make assertions. So I'm just going to keep it this way. So let's just say response equals this, and then we can use that variable like this. And let's make sure to add a semicolon here, and it should still pass. So yeah, I'm just going to fix the tests above. Okay, so I changed all my tests so far. Let's run the entire file, and everything is passing. So let's go to the other test, add comment test. Let's get rid of this, and let's get started for this test. Use refresh database. And as always, let's start with the existence test. So let's say add comment livewire component renders. Okay, we need an idea factory create. And let's go ahead and go to the show page. So response is this get. We are going to the show page, idea show, and pass through the idea. And let's assert that we see that component. So response, assert see livewire, add comment. Okay. Does this work? It does not. Did not import idea. Okay, try again. Okay. So let me just grab something from here so we have a comment already. So next one I'm going to test is if the form renders when we're logged in. So for example, I am logged in now, so it should show the form, but when I'm not logged in, it shows buttons here. So let's do that. So let's say add comment form does not render when user is logged out. Okay. Actually, let's do the logged in case first. So let's duplicate this. And let's say add comment form renders when the user is logged in. Okay. We actually don't even need the comment here. So we just want to assert that we see any text here in the form. So let's say share your thoughts is fine for me. Share your thoughts. Okay, try that out. Passes or it doesn't pass. Because we have to be logged in, so we have to use the acting as method. Acting as user. And we need a user as well. So let's add that. So let's duplicate this. Let's make a user using the user factory. Okay, import user. And that should work. Okay, and let's do the other case. So we don't need this. And let's assert that we see the case or the text when we're not logged in. So let me log out here. And it should be this. Okay, paste that in, and this should pass. Okay. Next, let's test the validation. So let's copy this or duplicate this. Let's say add comment form validation works. So we need a user. So let me just grab this one. And here I'm going to make use of the actual Livewire testing. So instead of this, we'll do Livewire acting as the user. Let's test the add comment component. Okay, let's import Livewire and add comment. Okay, and the add comment component takes in a idea. So let's pass that through. Idea is idea. Okay, and let's set the comment. So let me just remind you how that looks. So we have a property for the comment, which is what the user types into the text area. So let's set comment to an empty string, and that should trigger a validation error message. Let's make sure to call the method. The method's called add comment right here. Call add method, or sorry, add comment. And we can assert has errors. Sorry, should be an arrow. And we can say comment. Okay, so that should work, hopefully. Okay, so if I were to add something, that should obviously fail because there should be no errors. Okay. And if you look at the validation rules, you'll see that there are two rules here, one for required and one for at least 4 characters. And you can add separate cases for that, but I'm okay with just this one case. Or actually, you can just add more cases here, or just chain more on. So if you say, if we set it to something with less than 4 characters, we should still see errors here. And let's try that out. I think this should work. And it does. So let's see it fail actually, if I actually have more than 4 characters. And it does, cool. And for the last case, let's just make sure that the form actually creates a new comment. So add comment form works. We have a user, we have an idea, we are logged in as the user, and we're going to set a comment to this is my first comment. We're going to call the add comment method. Don't need this. Let's assert that, again, if you remember, we have this event that we're emitting. So let's do that. Assert emitted that event. Okay. Comment was added. So this should pass. Okay. And now let's just make sure that it's in the database. So say this assert equals 1. And let's just count the comments. So we can grab that from the idea, or we can just grab everything because there's no comments. So we can say comment count. Okay. Does that work? Oops, I have to import it. Try again. Okay. And if you want, you can make sure that the comments associated with this ID or with this idea actually have this. So let's do that. So again, assert equals. So this is my first comment because that's the comment I added. And that should be idea comments. Let's grab the first one. It's the only one. And say body. And that should be the same. Okay. Actually, I think I forgot to add the pagination test. So let's do that. So I'm going to put it back in our show comments test. And let's add it down here. So I already have one similar to this for the ideas pagination. So let's grab that. Show ideas test. So this one right here, show pagination or ideas pagination works. So let's grab this. Let's paste it in here in our show comments test. Let's say comments pagination works. And we still need an idea. And let's go ahead and make some comments here. So let's say comment 1 is comment create. And let's make sure to attach it to this idea. Okay. And we're going to create 20 more using the per page method. So similar to this, but instead of ideas, it's comments. So comment factory, let's just use comment 1 here because we have to use an instance to use the get per page method. And we want to make sure to associate it with this idea. So again, idea ID is idea ID. Okay. And get per page is set to 20, I believe. Yep. So now we should have 21 comments for this specific idea. So now we're going to the show page, and let me just use the route method here. So idea.show, passing in the idea. Okay. So this is the first page. So we should see the first comment. In the ideas case, the first page showed the last comment. But in this case, the first comment should show here on the first page. So comment 1 body. Okay. And let's assert that we don't see the last one on this page. So we can do comment find the last one. We can just do comment count. That should be the last one. And we can just do body here. Okay. Let's get rid of this for now. And let's see if what I have works so far. Okay, looks good. And for page 2, or for comments page 2, let's do that. So we have to pass in variables here. So let's say the idea is idea, but we also want to pass in a page query string parameter, and that's page 2. Okay. So we should be on page 2 now, so this should be opposite. So let's just grab this and do the opposite. So assert that we don't see comment 1 on page 2, and assert that we do see the last comment on page 2. Does this work? It does. Let's run the entire file. Actually, let's just run everything here. Should pass. And we are good. So as always, let's go ahead and commit episode 52 git add, git commit, episode 52, show, and add comments tests.